We have a major report coming out of the Toronto Maple Leafs management that they would not be shocked if Easton Cowan made the opening night roster and that he's very close. And we also have a report that an ex-Toronto Maple Leafs went to bat for Mitch Marner and asked his general manager to trade for him. We'll get into this very soon, but let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Easton Cowan's very close. Now, we do have reports coming out of Toronto management from Reilly saying, I think he's going to make a push. It's always hard to take that jump from junior to the NHL, but he's proven everybody wrong at every level, so I don't push it past him. She continues on to say he's going to have to come into camp. The defensive aspects of the game will be the key for him to be able to check and stay up to the pace of play. Not just the offensive side of the game, he's very close and it will be exciting to watch. Now, everyone knows who Easton Cowan is. Easton Cowan, a former first-round pick in 2023, just last year by the Toronto Maple Leafs, which was a shocking pick at the time, coming in, lighting up the OHL after being drafted by the Leafs, putting up 34 goals, 62 assists for 96 points. And then, Casey, what's your thoughts on Easton Cowan's development, and what's your thoughts on him maybe cracking the opening night roster?
I mean, Mark, just like Captain Canada, Reilly herself said, he's defied everybody's odds at every level in his play. I mean, when he got picked in the first round, nobody went to bat for him. What did he do? Come out the next season and have a record-breaking year. And I think that, if he has a good camp and has a good preseason here in Toronto, I would not be shocked at all to see Easton Cowan in on this third line to start the season, because I think this guy is a gem. I think he has so much to prove here in Toronto. Like she said, there are some stuff to his game that he could improve to make that jump a little bit more easy, but I think right now with the Easton Cowan we just seen with the London Knights, would be really fun to see in Toronto.
Yeah, because we've seen Easton Cowan go into the OHL, dominating, having the point streak record, being a killer on the power play, being on the penalty kill for the London Knights, and even going into the playoffs, putting up 10 goals, 34 assists for 24 assists for 34 points during the OHL and the London Knights playoffs, making it to the Memorial Cup, obviously losing in the finals. But Easton Cowan has been nothing short than just a miracle coming into the Leafs organization. When the Toronto Maple Leafs traded Rasmus Sandin, got back that first-round pick, no one expected to get a guy of this value coming in. But just looking at a guy like Easton Cowan going into next season, maybe we do see him crack this lineup on the third line. I wouldn't want him on the fourth line. I'd want him in a role where he can kind of produce, get his footing. We kind of seen Fraser Minten do this on the Leafs third line. I think at the very least, we see Easton Cowan make this team for 7 games before being sent back down. But the problem with this is he has nothing left to prove in the OHL from his stats this season, the way he carried himself, the way he carried the London Knights. Maybe he makes the AHL, but I think this guy's going to make the next big jump, maybe on the third line with Max Domi and Carl Jarnkrok. And is Casey, looking at this, where would you like to see Easton Cowan if he does make this roster?
Yeah, I like exactly where you got him put there on that third line. I think it's the perfect position. I think the big factor that's going to play into Easton Cowan making this team is the competitiveness between him and Nick Robertson in training camp in the preseason, because these are the two guys that could sit on that left wing on that third line. So whoever has the better camp, whoever has the better preseason is going to make this roster, in my opinion. I think Easton Cowan has a lot of potential and his ceiling is very high. And like you said, you wouldn't want to put this guy on the fourth line where he couldn't produce. I mean, we've seen that with Nick Robertson at points last year. They had him on that fourth line and he couldn't get nothing going down there. So I think having him come in on that third line with Max Domi, who's an exceptional playmaker, would be the perfect spot for him. He has the shot, and the big thing about Easton Cowan is he's proven to not slow down in the playoffs. I mean, he had a tremendous playoffs with the London Knights this year in the Memorial Cup, and I think the Leafs are looking for playoff guys. And if Easton Cowan can prove that, has proven that he can do it at the junior level, I think he could do it at the NHL level. Obviously, not having 34 points, it's not going to be that Jurassic, but he's going to be a guy who, in the clutch, could get you a goal, could set up a scoring opportunity. And I think if we see him for that first, whatever, 5 or 7 games it is this season, I think he stays in this lineup.
And the biggest thing is Nick Robertson's in kind of a twilight zone right now, wanting to be moved on from the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs almost seeming not willing to move him. So maybe we do see Easton Cowan coming in as that replacement for Nick Robertson. Maybe they use Robertson to buff up just kind of more of the lineup. Maybe they look for someone else other than David Kempf. Maybe they upgrade a guy like Bob McMahon, which I doubt, as he was just signed on a contract. But things are getting interesting in Toronto. They finally have a lot of these pieces breaking through the lineup, which is a godsend at the best to say. So what's your guys' thoughts on Easton Cowan making this lineup? What's your thoughts on just him possibly making the opening night roster? How many points would you project for him in his first season on the Toronto Maple Leafs? Let us know down below. But we're going to get into the Mitch Marner situation. But before we do, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that is subscribed. We're almost at 3,900. We're trying to push for 4,000 before Sunday. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to keep up to date with everything around the NHL, make sure to go down and hit the subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you updates from around the league. But with that, let's hop straight into the Mitch Marner is on team's radars. Now, we did get a report coming from Nick Kypreos on the Toronto Sun saying prior to the Predators spending a whack of dough of free agent money on Steven Stamkos, Marchessault, and Brady Shea, ex-Leaf Ryan O'Reilly did his very best to convince GM Barry Trotz to make the push and trade for Mitch Marner. Now, Casey, what's your thoughts on just teams looking at Mitch Marner? I know there's been a lot of reports. I know a guy like Barry Trotz came out and said himself that there's a lot of rumors flying around. They have cap space. They want to make the best possible moves. What's your thoughts on teams still eyeing Mitch Marner going into next season?
Yeah, I just gotta say, what a quote from Nick Kypreos there. Wackado. I mean, I love that quote from him, but I think this is very interesting. Obviously, Ryan O'Reilly knows what Mitch Marner's like, knows his ability from playing with him. So, you know, him going to Barry Trotz and saying, hey, we need this guy. If we had this guy, we're a team. And instead they go out and they get Stamkos, they get Marchessault, and they get Brady Shea, which still is great. Don't get me wrong here. You're getting 3 great players here in Nashville, but could Mitch Marner, you know, amount to be better than these 3 guys for the whole team dynamic? I think so. I think that Mitch Marner, he's still younger. He has lots of time to prove. He's in the prime of his career. And if you can put him and Philip Forsberg in the same lineup, I mean, that offense is just going to be amazing.
And see, the biggest thing is you're looking at a guy like Mitch Marner last season being limited to 69 games. He scored 26 goals, 59 assists for 85 points, 158 shots. You can kind of look through this playing 21 minutes time on ice. Mitch Marner is a great defensive player, and a lot of people overlook this. My biggest thing is, yes, there are guys like Ryan O'Reilly that still see value in Mitch Marner, and there's a reason for that. Mitch Marner, yes, had a down year. Yes, people are going to bash me in the comments for this, but trading Mitch Marner is not the idea to do right now. Craig Berube is going to come in with this hard-to-play against defensive, fast-paced team. Mitch Marner checks those boxes off. He's fast. Defensively, he was in the Selke voting just 2 seasons ago, and he finished 3rd in the voting. Him injected into this new offense is going to bring out a part of Mitch Marner that not a lot of us seen. Yes, if Mitch struggles. Yes, if Mitch goes the first 3 months and doesn't look himself, isn't connected, doesn't want to be there. Yes, trade him. But as of right now, a fresh start, a new coach, a new team surrounding him, I think Mitch Marner is going to have a stellar year, and a lot of Leafs fans are kind of going to backtraddle on their words. And what's your thoughts on maybe him having a resurgence this year?
Yeah, Mark, I don't think you're too far off there. I think with a new coach and a new, you know, kind of strategy here in Toronto, Mitch is going to excel. I think we will see Mitch Marner hit his first 100-point season. I think that's not too far out there to say. And like you said, it's not really that big of a risk. Yes, you might take a bit of a hit in regard to trade value once deadline comes around, but you got to give this guy a chance under a new coach because he is a phenomenal player, a phenomenal defensive forward, a phenomenal playmaker. He can also put the puck in the back of the net. He's one of the best players in the NHL, in my opinion, and I think, you know, trading him away just doesn't make sense. You have a whole new system now that Mitch Marner can take advantage of, and it's a contract year, and you know in contract years, players go off. So it doesn't really make sense for them to trade him right now, but if they don't see what if they don't see what something they like during the beginning of the season going into trade deadline, will we see maybe a sign and trade at the deadline? I think so. The value would be a little bit less than what you would get now, but it's better to get something than nothing, Mark.
And the big thing is like, yes, I understand. As Leafs fans, we want to see the cup. We want to see them win it. But the biggest thing is, yes, the window is opening, but if you work your way down this lineup, there's more money opening next season. A guy like John Tavares, a guy like Mitch Marner are off the books. You need to re-sign Matthew Nyes with that extra money. But the thing is, you have this core for multiple years. Yes, making the Cup Finals, winning a Stanley Cup is what every Leafs fan wants. But the thing is, you don't need to blow it up. And like Brad said, we're not going to make a trade just to pound our chest, pound the table and say we did something. They want to build a championship roster, and I think Craig Berube is going to be a major piece on how this team gets constructed into the season and next year. But what's your guys' thoughts on the whole Mitch Marner situation? What's your thoughts on Ryan O'Reilly's comments on him? What's your thoughts on Nick Kypreos saying teams are still looking at him? But with that, let's get straight into the third topic today, which is comment of the day. The comment of the day comes from Grandmama. Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Marner's plays defense as well, so now with a great defensive core, he has a chance to play to his full potential. And I couldn't agree anymore. Like, this is what I'm saying. Mitch Marner is a good defensive forward that had a bad season. We've seen players have bad seasons. Mitch just came at the worst time, and losing to the Boston Bruins in 7 didn't help. But I think Marner's potential is very high still in the system, and it's going to be really nice to see him shock a lot of fans. But if you guys enjoyed this and you want to go down and leave a comment on what your thoughts on everything we said, you could be featured on the next episode as comments of the day. While you're down there, share this with your friends, leave a like, subscribe. We're trying to reach 4,000 before Sunday, so make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, KC. Take care.